Good morning to all. On behalf of Department of Computer Science Engineering, I welcome you all for the gathering in Technical Fest STEM 7.0 in association with Institution Innovation Council of Ministry of Human Resource and Development. I take privilege to welcome our Vice Chairman, Engineer E.V. Kumaran sir, our Principal, Dr. R. Ravichandran sir, our Registrar R. Satyaseelan sir, faculties and students of Aruna Institution. I take this opportunity to give a session on the topic of OpenCV on behalf of Department of Computer Science. So the program STEM 7.0 is being initiated to encourage the students as well as the faculty to enrich their knowledge and how to develop an entrepreneur or how to develop an innovations. So on behalf of Department of Computer Science Engineering, and once again I welcome you all. So I take privilege to welcome our president and the principal of our institution, Dr. Ravichandran sir, to felicitate the gathering. Please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Jyotish Kumar. I would like to appreciate the Department of Computer Science and Engineering of Aruna Engineering College to step in to take this initiative, great initiative, in the name of Institution Innovation Council of MHRD Ministry. So, at this point of time in this world, the technology has come to a stagnant point at which we need some breakthrough. We need a breakthrough in every aspect. So wherever some breakthrough is there, then only the technology can survive, and in turn, the technocrats also can find their way into their business. So in this aspect, we realize the innovation in our day-to-day life. You know, some years ago, there were devices in the name of um, a watch, a television, music player, calculator, and camera, and so many gadgets. But these all gadgets are replaced by a device called mobile smartphone today. So it rules the world. It's a needy device every human being has got today, from the rich to the poor, from across the world in all countries, invariably. So we realize the power of innovation. Somebody who has neglected or ignored the power of innovation cannot have the survival point in the business. You know, there was a company called Kodak Camera. You might be knowing some of
Yes, sir.
Kodak Camera. So it was a leader in the camera manufacturer and the film manufacturing. Now today it's not there. They have not found their way. That's because they have not understood or realized the potential of digital camera. So they have been replaced by the digital camera like Sony and so many other Japanese companies. Now the Kodak Camera has invested in some other places and they have found some other business, but not in camera manufacturing. So that's how we have to realize the potential of innovation in every aspect, whether it be engineering or medicine, or even in engineering, automotive technology, aerospace, computer science, in any field. The people who are working, whether it is entrepreneur or their employees, must realize and utilize the innovation in every aspect. How be it small, you can make it small, but it should be there. You can make a small innovation, that's also good. So in this perspective, I wish all the students and faculty of computer science to realize the potential of innovation and implement in their day-to-day activities like project work or any other endeavors, and make their life successful, and wish all the department students and faculty to get involved in this great initiative, Institution Innovation Cell. It is not restricted or only allotted for computer science department. It is open for all the departments. That's also is an ambition given by the faculty of computer science and engineering department, particularly Professor Jyotish Kumar. So I wish great success of the people who are involved in this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful speech, and you given an idea about even the small innovations or small ideas. We want to take it as a product, and we want to exhibit to the society that we are available. And as you said, that Institution Innovation Council will definitely enlighten our institution in all the streams of our institution, and make them to put forth their steps with an idea and convert it to as an principles of concepts, and we will take it as a product as you we discussed, and you given a suggestion about how the incubation centers are developed, in what way we want to project on the incubation centers by developing and different kinds of cells like entrepreneurship cells and innovation cells, and we want to have some kind of virtual labs to be deployment in our institution. So that is what we are working with you, sir, with your fine guidance actually.
Thank you.
So a valuable speech actually. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So I take the session on today topic, which what we are going to take it is OpenCV. So before that, I share my presentation. So the today topic, we have two topics we are taken today, sir, with the name of technology. One is OpenCV, which what we call as an open source computer vision, and the next topic is CMS, that is going to be taken by a subsequent student actually. So this program is mainly taken to concentration about how the faculty and student relationships to be strengthened, especially in the institution level, and as well as how to grow up their communication skills, our self-confidence, our entrepreneurship quality, and innovations, ideas. So all we put forth with one place with the name of faculty and students. So we have an good relationship with the students to motivate them to do this kind of initiatives, especially as you told that, sir, even if it is a small initiative, let come forth to the institution level as well as to the society level. So definitely in one day it will become as a big success. So thank you for your valuable suggestions, sir. So I will start the presentation on the OpenCV. So on seeing the presentation of OpenCV on today, which what we have called as in STEM 7.0, it's a consecutive program which we run it for the past 3 months actually. So you can see the logo which is given for the open source computer vision with having some kind of colors. So what we can able to learn from this in the sense, we are going to extraction of an image, or we are going to extraction of an colors or the pixels. So the topics which what we are going to take it today will be definitely concentrate on, especially on the hot topic today, what we are speaking about, an artificial intelligence with the name of machine learning, deep learning, supervised learning, unsupervised learning. So all this comprised to be taken to an implementation level. So all the level what we have spoken as a previous session in the STEM program, we talk about the machine learning, how the artificial intelligence will deploy over in the society, in what way the artificial intelligence will help to for the society level as well as for the technology level to improve the innovation. So all these things we have seen in the in case of presentation, but we need some kind of implementation part to know about how the implementation will be done on taking the machine learning or taking the deep learning with the name of artificial intelligence, how to extract the information or how to extract the segregation of information, and how to know about to identify some kind of robotic applications that will help to go for navigations or it go for an obstacle avoidance, and even if you go for some medical applications for segmentation of a 2D and 3D image of an human organ reconstructions. So like it will be deployed, the OpenCV is deployed in different levels of applications, even to an industrial automation applications and security applications and transportation application to know about the autonomous vehicles and to know about the driver vigilance monitoring. So the topics are widely available with the implementation of OpenCV. So I just take this privilege to make it to the community of an students as well as to the faculty. Let me go and implement the OpenCV in the real-time application to our society, that where we are available in Thiruvannamalai with the premier institution of our institution named Arun Engineering College. So we will take put forth with the OpenCV, which where we can able to identify in our society, especially to the Trivandrum district, in what way we can able to deploy this particular OpenCV with the name of society, where it can help to the society peoples to enrich their daily regular works actually. So before going to see about the OpenCV, let I introduce myself. I'm Dr. M. Jyotish Kumar, Head Department of Computer Science Engineering, and trainer and coordinate for this particular course of STEM. And when you taking about the scenario, that is very important. So as a talk, what the briefly I told about in what way the OpenCV will be needed, or what way the OpenCV will be interact with the hot topic of an artificial intelligence. So let me take this particular scenario. We can see about how does the computer can read an image. So this is a startup of an OpenCV or background of an OpenCV. Why we need a OpenCV? That is a very crucial point. The students as well as the faculty should know, realize the background work which is needed to know about the scenario for the OpenCV. So when you take about how the computer can read image, as a human, when I see the particular image, I can able to understand this is an image of a building, or as institution level, as I've been working over in Aruna Engineering College, I can identify that this is an Aruna Center block, which has been and deployed with beautiful constructions actually. So as a human, my vision as a human vision can able to recognize, my brain will recognize this particular image is a building, and it's having a color of beautiful colors with the green colors of grass and everything. It will be recognized as a human vision. But in the same way, if I take it to the computer, how the computer can read this image actually? Because computer is not an in computer, how can able to recognize, first of all, it is an image, and how can able to classify this image is constructed as a building? Because first of all, the computer want to recognize this as an image. That is one part. After recognizing as an image, the second level is we want to know about whether the computer will give an output that this is a building of any kind of an institution or any kind of civil structures. So that OpenCV will take this scenario, how the computer will read image. So you can see the example which I given over here. Initially, I given one input as a image, which is our institution college image I given over it. So that will be categorized into three way. One is RGB, which already we know about that the color classification, that red, green as well as blue. So the computer will read the image basically in the form of RGB. So how much pixels and how much values of red and how much values of green, how much values of blues are available in the particular image. So that will be classified in the first level. Second level, it go for the matrix level to identify the numbers. That is very important to know about whether the given image is a two-dimensional matrix or three-dimensional matrix. So most of the computer vision says that the color images, whatever we are going to deploy over here, it is an three-level matrix, which means that we will take it a rows and columns as well as a channel. So you can see at the last one where we have a number of rows and number of columns with the channel. So all these three parameters will able to classify that this is an image which consists of an RGB actually. So how the computer can read an image, this is a scenario which we taken, we will give it as an input. The classification will be done on RGB. Then we want to form the matrix. After forming the matrix, it able to come with the matrix value will give the output. How much value of pixel values will be available with the name of red, green, and blue with the channels actually. So this is a scenario which we want to identify it to know about why we need a OpenCV. I think you can get a clarification about why we are moving for the open source computer vision. So this is a basic idea which I've been deployed over as a scenario. So what are the prerequisites needed if you want to deploy to the open source computer vision? Because that is very important to be carried out, because we want to know what are all the prerequisites or what are the background works that we want to done it if you want to be having a study about, or if you want to get a knowledge on open source computer vision, especially on the deployment process. So the first vision is first we want to know about some basic details about what is computer vision actually, and in what way the computer visions will be classified. So computer vision can be defined as a discipline that explain how to reconstruct or an interpret or understand a 3D scenes from its 2D images. So already we see about the previous slides where we will take an image and we will construct it to an RGB level. After constructed to an RGB color values, we will construct the matrix. From the matrix, we develop to know about what are the pixel values to be taken. That is in three level channels which we apply. So the computer vision can be defined as a discipline which will be able to reconstruct the images and take the property of an significant fields like image processing or pattern recognitions. So there are multiple fields available. Out of these two fields, will be mainly focused on image processing, will be focused on image manipulations, and pattern recognition will help to explain the various techniques to classify the patterns actually. So the computer visions will take in this, and machine learning. We know what is the learning which is needed for the system to recognize how the object will be recognized, how the object will be classified, how the object will be able to categorize, how the object will be able to segregated or segmented. So all these things and all will be coming under the mission level language, because that open source computer vision will also enroll into the 3 levels of work. It will enroll into the artificial intelligence as a first layer. As a second layer, it will enroll to the mission level learning, that what we call as a mission learning. As a third level, it will enter into the deep learning. So when you talk about the layer of an artificial intelligence like a circle, the complete circle will be called as an artificial intelligence. The subset will be called as a mission intelligence or mission learning, and again the subset of mission learning will be called as a deep learning. So in all these levels, the open computer vision will be enrolled to go for an implementation process. And the second one is we need to have some kind of basic knowledge in mathematics terminology and in functionalities, because we are working with the pixel values. We are going to construct the matrix to be in the rows and columns. So we need some kind of mathematical derivation and its functionality, that we need to have some basic knowledge that is enough to implement a good level of OpenCV project actually. And the deployment level of programming language, there are multiple programming languages available to develop an OpenCV, but out of that, the Python will take a crucial one, because the Python will take the deployment level, especially on the machine learning and deep learning. The Python will take more initiatives, and the flexibility of coding and the reuse of code, actually the simplicity of codes, all are convenience with the Python. So I prefer to go for Python programming language. And the last one is which is very important, which we call as an collab, which we call as an collaboratory. Is a platform where we can able to implement, because when you are going for this kind of machine learning and deep learning, there are huge number of processing power will be used to deploy all the image classifications or image segregation or an extraction. So in that case, we need a powerful system to deploy. So as a we are in this position, we can able to do a platform which is provided by the Google, which we called as an collab, which what we called as an co-laboratory, which is a product of an research and development in the Google products actually. So you can use as a cloud where we can able to deploy your all your projects, and we don't want to worry about the processing speed as well as the RAM speed. If you are running in your own system, then we want to taken care about the classification. For example, if we consider I want to classify thousand and lakhs of images, I want to classify it, and I want to know the constructions of the images. So in that situation, my system won't be take much more RAM. The system will not able to cooperate with to taken that much powerful system to enable. So in what way I can able to go for the implementation level? So in that situation, we can go for co-lab, which what we call as a collaboratory laboratory, which is a product of an Google. So these are all the prerequisites which we needed: the computer vision, the mission level learning languages, mathematical technology, and functionalities. Programming languages, we can go for C, C++, as well as for the Java and Pythons, because when you take about the OpenCV initially deployed and constructed using C++, then only it will be transformed to the platform independent like Java, and it come to the present level of the Python. So all these things are the prerequisites which is needed when before if you want to enter into the OpenCV. Let you have the let you go through all this kind of topics and have a basic kind of knowledge on this particular topics with the Python, with some kind of basic instructions and the programming codes, and how the machine level learning codes can able to deploy it using the Python. That will be you can done it with the platform. So this prerequisite I clearly given in which particular platform you want to work it, what kind of languages that you will be used to work on this platform, and as well as what are all the prerequisites like terminology that you needed with the machine learning as well as the computer vision. So let me go for the introduction about what is OpenCV actually. So open source computer vision is a Python library which is designed to solve the computer vision problems. So already I told about what is a computer vision problems, which is related to the field of image processing or an pattern recognition, and how to reconstruct it or how to interrupt the given images, and how can you able to feather the images. So how to capture the real-time video streams. All these things will be coming under the computer vision problems actually. So in that, maybe the presently in pandemic situations in the COVID-19, OpenCV will take more crucial in development of an like an attendance a monitoring system to be as an contactless, or we can have an sanitizing once if you are taking, and the temperature will be learned while sensing the sensors. So all this kind of the things, the background the OpenCV will take about the classification of your image, and everything will be done. That will be one of the library actually. So this library want to be deployed. So when you take about the library, there are multiple libraries available to the part of Python. So out of that, OpenCV is a powerful library which especially taken care about for the extraction of your images, or extraction of your any kind of classification of the shapes. So all these things and all the OpenCV will be taken a more important area. So the second one is OpenCV original developed in the Intel by 1999, and later it was supported by William. And it supports a wide variety of programming language. As I told that it started with C++ and Python and Java, but the deployment of the code, as well as the reusability and scalability, when you consider all these things of futures, so Python will be the comfort for the startup users to enroll, to know about and learn the OpenCV. And the development of OpenCV and the deployment will also be in multiple platforms, like the standard one we having the Linux, Windows, and as well as Mac OS. And not only for this particular one, you can able to go for your iOS or an Android mobile applications. So the OpenCV can also comfort for developing any Android-based applications to be taken over here. And OpenCV Python is a wrapper class for an original C++ library to be used in the Python. So that is very important point, that it will be the wrapper class, which means that it will have a multiple header files to be taken to the name of C++ library. Because when you take about the library, there are collections of libraries will be available with the name of header files and the files actually. So when I take about OpenCV structures, because when you go to the scenario, so when you go for the scenario, you can see that the OpenCV scenario will take about the images to be classified with the name of RGB. After classified with the name of RGB, we want to take into the matrix level. So that conversion of matrix level and constructed as, and when you take it to the matrix level for the real-time implementation, maybe in any programming language, we as a programming skills that all the students will have, that we know that if you want to implement the product or implement the concept of your matrix, we want to know the rows and columns. The rows and columns can able to implement it in programming language with the name of array. That may be a two-dimensional array or three-dimensional array. So that three-dimensional array or two-dimensional array, that will be given by the people known as a NumPy. So the OpenCV will able to extract the information. So while we go for the demonstration, you can able to clearly identify these two differentiation actually. So OpenCV will take a responsibility to extract the information to know about the RGB levels and pixel levels and channels level. And after that, when you go to and know about an extraction of any part of an human object or any extraction of any object, so in that situation, NumPy array will take a responsibility to do that particular work. So the first level is OpenCV to go for extraction of image. The second level to classification of an arrays will be done by the NumPy. So these are all the basic features that what the OpenCV will go through it. One is we can able to go for read and write images. We can able to capture and save videos. That we have a fine demo over in the session, so that you can able to know about how the we can able to read and write images, and how the process images or filter or the transform. So we have two kinds of techniques. Once if you want to go for identifying the shapes, morphological structure of an human, like taking about an erosion and dilation, so that we will see one by one. And we can go able to go for detect the specific objects like faces, eyes, cars in the vision or videos with a very simple level of works. And even the why I prefer to go for Python in the sense, the Python will take one what are the main crucial lines which is needed to be enrolled for the logic. So that particular line, if you are writing, the background work will be done by the Python. So that is why I prefer to go for Python. If I go for some other languages like C++, I want to concentrate on header files. I want to concentrate on libraries, on function, everything. So that responsibility will be taken care by the OpenCV as well as the Colab platform. So that will be taken over here. So where the OpenCVs are deployed in case of your MNC companies. So you can see it over here in which particular places that the deployments is being made at, like in Google or Yahoo, Microsoft, IBM, Intel, Sony, Honda, Toyota. So not only this major MNC company, there are multiple MNC companies out of that. These are all the top MNC companies. The products and development. So in what way this particular deployment is made, in what way the open computer visions are helpful to this particular product like Google or Microsoft Yahoo. So in case of deployment, actually, so in case of deployment, for example, if you want to see the street view images together in the Google, so there the OpenCV will take the responsibility to take that particular part, actually, to detect the intrusion in surveillance video. Especially in Israel, they are using an open computer vision, where in the sense for detecting the intrusion in case of surveillance videos. So Israel is using this particular OpenCV concept over there, and the China is been using the open computer vision for monitoring the mine equipments, how to identify the mine equipment. So in that situation, the country China is using over there, and it also helping the robots navigating and pick up an object. So where the computer visions is being deployed. And even in case of Spain and New York, they have been running an interactive art program. In that, they are able to use it about the OpenCV over there, and as well as inspecting labels on the products in factories around the world on the rapid for the face detection in Japan. So in the deployment is being widely used over, especially in this pandemic situation. The OpenCV will take the crucial part for doing all this kind of activities over here. So why Colab? So before going to the Colab, let me go for the prerequisite that what I needed. You want to know about the first thing, you want to know about the basics of computer vision and mission level language or the machine learning. And the second level, you want to know some mathematical derivations and its functionality. And third level, I just told about the Python, some basic level of instructions as well as the skills. Additional with the Colab, because the platform is very important for the deployment process. So if I want to enroll that, I want to work it with the OpenCV, or I want to deploy the OpenCV. So in that situation, we want to know about a good platform, because when you take about the platform, especially to the Colab, let me see about where the Colab is being from and why the Colab we want to make it. So Colab is being hosted by the Google. So if I want to enroll to the Colab, definitely you want to have one Google account to be enrolled, or if you want to enter into the website of which I given over at the bottom of the page, colab.research.google.com, or you can able to go through the Colab by using the drive also. So the two option is given for you to enroll into the Colab as a product. So whether you can able to enroll using the colab.research.google.com, or you can enroll through the drive. That I will tell you once I go for demonstration. I will explain you how to do it. So it requires a Google account, and you can able to see at the left hand side the second topic, CPU, GPU, and TPU support. See that central processing unit that normal PC will have. GPU is a graphic processing unit, and TPU will be called as a TensorFlow or tensor processing unit. So all these processing units we can't able to buy it. We can't able to buy it in the sense for doing an powerful kind of applications. We want to differentiate with each application. For example, when I've been detecting an image detection, I can use a central processing unit with a good RAM configuration, so that will be convenient for me to detect the image detection. But when I want to detect a group of set of peoples in the crowd management system, for example, 1,000 people are standing in the crowd, in that situation, I want to identify the faces, or I want to identify their eyes. So the data sets is being used, so the processing power will be needed over more over in that particular situation, like machine learning. So in that situation, GPU will take care about that particular one. When you go for TensorFlow processing unit, where which you called as an TPU, where again we will take much more processing unit to go for lakhs and lakhs of images extraction, and out of that we want to identify that this is image and this is a head, this is a eye, and this represent about the structure of any kind of an object. So all these things and all taken with the name of all these things which will be taken in the name of about tensor, that is tensor processing unit, actually. Okay, so that is what we have seen about TPU, GPU, and as well as TPU. And we want to return the Python code directly in the notebook, because the Colab is being specifically designed with multiple notebooks. You can open the notebook and you can write your code with the simple codes. You can able to beautifully execute an OpenCV projects. And Colab is one of the Google research product. And recently in 2020, that is in July 2020, the Colab is being initiated with a new term which is called as an AI kit. That is an artificial kit is being developed with the name of Colab, where if you are having a good knowledge in artificial intelligence, you can able to make your all your programs and save it in the drive, or you can move to the GitHub and you can do functional very well. And it is an excellent tool for deep learning. That what already we discussed about that the product, in what way we can able to use this product for the implementation purpose. So the Colab will be a good platform to deployment of your machine learning and as well as the deep learning. Okay. And these are all the functionalities of Google Colab. So when I go to Google Colab, there is a two facilities being given for you to make your notebook to be save over it, because when you are doing a multiple program, the storage is one of the major drawback which has been available to the system aspect. So when you are working with the Google Colab, it will provide you the drive as well as the respiratory revision, which what we call as in GitHub. So you can move your file to your drive, or you can move the file to the GitHub. So at anywhere at any time you can able to access your system with the name of a platform which is given. So it's a cloud system. If I want to be take it as a simple, if you want to learn it, you can see it at the second structure of the image I given over it. Your computer is being there and you are moving to the drive, and from the drive it has been synchronized to the Google Drive, and from that you can take it to the Google Notebook. So this is be an bidirectional one. So you can transform in any way. From system you can go to Colab, or from Colab you can take it to the system. So the Colab will provide you the two kinds of facility for storage level. You can see it at the left hand side, the image which I given over here. One is you can able to take it in the drive level, or you can able to take it to the GitHub. So that is your way of approach. And you can also see it about the differentiation about in what way you are using the system depends upon your programmatical situation. We want to change it about if I want to search for 100 image extraction, I can go for CPU. If I want to go for 10,000 image of extraction, I can go for GPU. When I want to go for lakhs and lakhs of images, I want to carry out my processing power will not convenient when I take about the system. So that particular Colab will provide you the processing unit, that differentiation. You can also see it over in the classification and as well as a configuration which is taken for the central processing unit, graphic processing unit, as well as your tensor processing unit. In what way the RAM which is being used, 13 GB of RAM is being provided for you. So once if you open the Colab laboratory in the website, it will take it as a default. It is a CPU. Which you can see it at the left hand side, that will provide you as a 13 GB of RAM to execute your program as a startup one, and it will be taken to an GPU which will have a GDDR, which is known as a graphic double data rate virtual random access memory is being given for you, and as well as teraflops which has been taken about taken 180 teraflops which will be taken to do it in the TPU. So all these things are depends upon your applications. You can able to change it your program level. So let me go for a live demo on how to use it this particular program, especially to the implementation of OpenCV. So I will go for a live demo over here. So what I told about, you can go and search it for Colab. So you can see it at the starting one at google.com. So this is one of the research Google product which has been taken, and you can able to see about the terms what we taken over here. And let I go for Google Colab. So if you want to, the basic thing is you know that you will get it over it. The examples, the previous examples, what are the predefined examples available in the Google Colaboratory, or whatever the reason files that you use it, that will be available over here. And if you want to take it any files from the Google Drive, or if you want to make it to the Google Drive as per the previous slide, you can move the presentation to Google Drive as well as from to and from. So that will be available. Or if you want wish to move to the GitHub, you can able to move to the GitHub. Or if you want to upload any images, you can able to upload. So this is a startup window that you will get it over it. So if already you are, if you are the startup, you can go for new notebook at present. Or if I want to see what is the basic structure of this particular one, we put a cancel over here. So this is a startup of your window, which what we can able to make it. What is co-laboratory, co-laboratory or co-lab, and it is a zero configuration required. You can see it over here. It is a zero configuration required and free access to GPU and easy way of sharing on all this kind of informations. And let me go to experiment level. So you can see at the top level of the menu like file, edit, view, insert, runtime, tools, and help. So let I go for file. So in the file, you can able to see about the topic known as an new notebook or open notebook or upload. So once if you go for the menu over here, we can able to see about a new notebook and open notebook and upload notebook over here. So here you can able to go for new notebook at present. So once if you open the new notebook over here, you can able to see about at the left hand side where the default the CPU will be loading over to know about providing the separate space for you to know about what is the processing power and what is the RAM is being given to you, and you can able to see this window. So this is a window which has been available. At the top you can see at the left hand side the logo, and as well as by default whatever the information that you are going to do it over here, by default it will be saved in the um, name of a name with the Google Drive and IPython, and that is a notebook, Python notebook that is being saved over here. So you can first of all changes this particular one like a sample, or it's my first experiment, so I will go for first example. So by default, whatever the changes I've been doing over in this particular first example file, that been taken to the drive automatically. So there is no need to go for any kind of save that you want to do it in this notebook. And you can see about the top two peoples available over here. One is code as well as text. So once you see this code as well as text, in the sense, if you are writing and if you want to write a Python code, you can give an add over here. So you can see there is a cell will be added. So each and every part of this particular Colab will be considered as a cell. So the cell will be taken in two way. One is it may be a code cell or it may be a text cell. So if you want to write an any kind of a program, I can write it in this code cell actually. And if you want to give any kind of text description for the particular program, like a comment, what we do it in the program level. So if you want to do like this, then we can able to add the text level, and you can able to give the experiment by double clicking over it. This is my first experiment or first example. I can able to give it that like first example on OpenCV. I can give it like this. Okay. And we can see at the text which has been available at the toggle heading. So once you click the toggle heading, and automatically for one click, it will taken as a header, like an H1 what we take it in an HTML. Okay, and we can able to take it to the initial level, and we can able to do it actually. So this is what the startup of your code as well as the text that you can able to deploy. So now it will become as an example, first example for OpenCV. So once if you are typing any kind of instructions over here, okay, and you can able to give the processing unit. So you can see that now the system is running over there. You can see at the right hand side, it has been connecting to the Python 3 Google compute engine backend. So the backend, the cloudly, by using the cloud, the system has been running over here, and it is initialized, and now it is being connected. Now you can see at the top the RAM space which is being provided, as well as the disk space which is being provided for you. And as like what we discussed about, it is a GPU which containing about what is the actual RAM space we told about 13 GB of RAM space is available. Out of that, what is the RAM space that you have been using, and what is the disk space is being provided to you. So each and every applications that you've been developed over here, that and the set of processing unit will be help you to run over this particular problem. Okay, so this is the starting level of work to be carried out. And once if you take about the startup of the program, so this is a startup how to take the OpenCV in the Colab. So first you want to install the OpenCV in the Python level. So there is a two way you can able to mention. One is if you are running in the cloud level, you can go for Colab. Suppose, sir, I want to run personally in my PC without any internet, or I want to do it by using any application. In the sense, you can go for PyCharm, or Visual Studio Code is available. So there you can able to go and type your installation code, and you can run in the system aspect actually. But here Colab, why we prefer to go for Colab in the sense, especially the processing unit, once if you go for extraction of multiple images, in that situation we need to carry out multiple image extraction is needed over here. So in that situation, we want to carry out this particular level of extraction of images, that is being very important. So first we can go for pip install OpenCV Python. So this is a command that is a pip install OpenCV Python. So it is a command which is able to basically available to make how the OpenCV library can able to deploy inside the Colab. So we can go and write over that particular code. I copy this. So here you can able to write it the code. Pip install OpenCV hyphen Python. So once I write this particular one, so initially I want to install the OpenCV Python, but as a Colab by default the library files are available. But anyway, for the startup one, I'm just taking this installation file. So once the file is been taken as a one cell, you can go at the left hand side to run this particular cell, which we call as an run cell. You can make it by using mouse by clicking over the thing, but or if you want to use a keyboard, you can go for Control Enter to enroll over here. So you can go for Control Enter or and click the particular thing. So you can able to see that it giving a message known as a requirement already satisfied, which means that already installed over the Python OpenCV over in this particular Colab. So it has been giving a message over here. So if you are a new one, it will take all the library files which is being needed over in the packages or whatever it may be. See, when you take about the OpenCV libraries which is being available in the module level. So for example, when I take about the programming language other than Python, so for example, students want to deploy in other languages. In that situation, the library files which are taken into one module. For example, if you are using C++, we will talk with the name of header files. Whatever the libraries files will be taken in the form of header files. If you come to Java, we will take it in the name of package. If you come to Python, it will be taken in the form of module. So the representation of name will be different, but the background work is the same. If you want, again, I will repeat, when you are working with C++, the same kind of library files, if you want to deploy, we will use header files. I think you know that why we want to go for conio.h, the KSKN or getch, we go for the library files as well as the function to be used. The same way when you go for Java, we go for packages. Okay, the deployment of a packages by importing and other things and all. The same way when you go for the representation of Python, the library files are to be contained in one module actually. Okay, so that module will taken about with a different name in language of C++, it's called as an header file. In Java, it's called as a package. In case of Python, we call it as a module. So this is one of the entry questions in technical. Once if you go for any placements, they will ask it what is the differentiate, whether it is having any differentiate between the header file, package, and as well as the module. So this is a startup of the initial one to how to install the Python libraries. And second one is we will taken about the import the files which has been needed over it. For example, if you are taking as a system side, we will directly import the files by the name of read or write and the sense. But we want to take it to two people. One is whether you can give it to the drive or you can give it to the GitHub. So in that situation, you can have that one particular instruction from google.colab import files, where you can able to import the files to the upload. So you can use the particular message known as an upload method, which is able to take from the system side to the Colab. So if I want to take it this particular one, just copy this. So I'm going for the next cell. So I take it this particular one to be go for the next level of works. If you want, you can do it actually. Okay. And already I done it some of the experiments to be taken over here. For example, if you go for open notebook, you can see the multiple things available, local in drive, open in playground mode. I will tell you what is in playground mode, and open notebook. So once if you go for open notebook, I already developed some different kinds of program levels. For example, I'm going for exercise one to be open in a separate window. Okay. So once if you go for this particular one, I already done a basic level of instructions to be given over here. Yeah. So once if you go for this particular one, where you can able to see that how the image shapes and size and data types can able to classify for the images. So first I install the pip install OpenCV Python. So already I installed it. So now you can able to see the file known as a file from Google Colab, import files.upload. So I uploaded some kind of files over here. Okay, so once you run this particular one, will get asked to choose a file. You can choose this particular file. All these files you can see at the left hand side to be known as a files folder. In this particular files folder, it will able to take it all the information that you are carrying out in this over particular program. So it takes some time, I think so, because we want to initialize, because every time when you are running the program, yeah, it is now connected. Okay, so when you go for the folder, you can see a sample data folder is available. In that folder, you can see all the basic kinds of files, all the things available. For example, I'm just running this particular file. So once I running this particular file, it asks you to choose the files to upload it. So I'm just uploading some kind of images which already I downloaded and I've been running over here. So I'm uploading some kind of images. For example, upload my image actually. So once it has been uploaded, it will take some time to upload it. Yeah, now it has been uploaded with how much number of bytes has been uploaded over here. So here we have the two kinds of import files that we want to make it as a library. One is NumPy. Already I told about the NumPy, where the NumPy will be able to convert your image to be as an array, and as well as CV2. CV2 is the file which we taken for the computer vision. So that two things you want to download it, or which we can able to import it over here. So here you can able to see another one people like an CV2 underscore IM show. So this is one of the another file which we needed to show the display to the people or to the public. So we need this particular method over here. And at the bottom you can see about variable name IMG. Like normally the programming language we use it actually. So CV2 dot. So that using the Open Vision. So CV2 is the name which we given to open the open CV over here in the Colab. So we given CV2 dot IM read. So we are reading the file because already uploaded over here. Already uploaded over here. So once I uploaded, I read this particular file. Once I read this particular file, I'm just applying some of the extraction of colors, CVT color, which what we call as an convert colors. I'm just converting the color to BGR to gray, which means that BGR is what we already know, blue, green, and red. Two represent that we want to convert to gray color, and as well as we want to convert to hue saturation value. So these two kinds of level we made it, and we have some kind of default methods available like img.shape. The image is being transferred over to the photo 15.jpg that I ask you to go for shape. So shape will take in three kinds of values. One is what is the rows and columns and what kind of channel it is being used. By default itself, already in the starting of the presentation, I just told that the image processing unit, especially OpenCV, will take about rows and columns and three channels for representing the RGB as well as HSU, and one channel for representing the grayscales images actually. So if I want to calculate the pixel value, you want to know how many rows and columns is given. For example, let me take an image and you right click on the image. Once you go for the properties, you can see something like 300 cross 400. So what is the meaning of 300 cross 400? So you should not tell us and it's a 300 cross 400 height and width. As a student of knowing about the intelligence of artificial and deep learning, you should take it as a matrix level, which means that 300 rows and 400 columns. And what is the pixel value, or what is the pixels? What is the total pixels available in the picture? So if I want to take it this particular one, we want to take three parameters. One is rows and as well as a column, and third one is a channel. So when you all multiply these values, you can able to identify what is the pixels, what is the total pixels of an image actually. So this is what you can able to know it, and you can know the size. So size represent about how many pixel size is being available. You can able to know the data type of the images. So in the particular program, what I done it over in the sense, I just take it about the three representation of your image. One is the normal image, actual image which has been available. Second, I convert the image to gray color, and third, I converted to hue saturation value, which is the three channel values to be made it. So this is what I done it to this particular program. So you can see this particular output over here, where the first output is 354 comma 354 comma 276 comma 3, which represent about there are 354 rows available, there are 276 columns available, and there are 3 channels available. When you all multiply this 354 into 276 into 3, we can able to know about the image whatever you uploaded. In that image, how many pixels are available, how much pixels are available, that you can see it at the bottom side actually. There are 2,93,112 pixels are available in the given picture actually, and that particular picture will be coming under the data type of integer. And when you go for the grayscale, you can see about the grayscale image, you can see the IMG BW, that is black and white. When I take it this particular image, you can see it about img.shape. In that situation, you can see I just already told that the black and white images are having only one channel. So you can see that it's representing only 354 comma 276. So if you multiply 364 into 276, so what is the value you are getting? That value is the total pixels that you can able to give it for the grayscale image. So for example, what is the value for 354 into 276? So it's come around 97,704 pixels are available when you go for the grayscale images. So if anyone asks about how to calculate the pixels of the image, you can use this particular program to know about the image containing how much pixels with the name of rows, columns, and as well as channel. But make it one thing to be very clear: if you are using the color image, then the 3 kinds of parameters definitely it will take. One is the row, second one is a column, and third one is a channel. 3 channels will be provided for the RGB colors as well as for the huge saturated values HSU for. But the for the grayscale images, which will be taken only one channel, that is why you are getting over 354 into 276. So when I will go and see the I will show you the final output. So this is my final output where you can able to take it over here. I just loaded the images. Now, if you come down with the images, you can see it is a grayscale images which is being available presently. Where I converted this to the grayscale image because you can see the first 3 lines of the images which is being available over here. Where you can see the first 3 lines of the code. First one is the normal one. By default, it is an RGB. Second one is I'm converting by using the method known as an CVT color, which what we call as an convert color. I'm passing the image value, and I'm just calling the OpenCV CV2 dot color BGR2 gray that I've been doing over it. So using this gray only, you are getting that gray color. And the third one, we have an BGR2 HSV, which is an a huge saturated value that you are getting over with the shape, size, and as well as data type. And if you want to show to the user, in that situation, we can able to use it CV2 IM show of image. So which is a file which help you to show the image to the user over here. Okay, so you can able to see about, now you can understand what is the value over. The first one represent about the row, second one represent the column, and third one represent the channel. This represent about the total uh, pixels that you have been used, and the third one represent the data type have been taken, and the fourth one, which is the what is the shape when I've been converted to the grayscale, what is the shape is been available. So that is the value which is been available now. So now we can see the output which I've been getting over the black and white image, which what we when I converted to the grayscale, as well as when I converted to the HSV, that is a huge saturated value. You can see this particular file is being taken as an initial one. So very simply, you can run it this program by using the Colab, and you can able to extraction all the images that whatever you are having now. And by default, the image will be saved to the Google Drive, so you don't want to worry about it at anywhere at any time. You can take it out, and I will give you some other examples for you to know about how the OpenCV can able to enroll in the name of learning. For example, I'm just going for shape deduction. Yeah. So system will provide you the required RAM space as well as the disk space to be construct over the images actually. So once if you go for this particular one, again we want to use that pip install OpenCV Python and followed by I'm just uploading the file. Already I uploaded the shapes file. If you want, I will show you in my I just have it in my local drive actually with the folder of OpenCV. So this is the image I've been actually taken. So this is the image. So you can see this shape. So when you take this particular shape, the system want to recognize this particular shape, that it is a rectangle, that is a circle, that is a square. So that OpenCV will help to identify the edges of each and every diagrammatical representation of shapes and identify the shape of each and every one, so that you can see it over in the program. And the next level of the program, I will tell you to we will work it with the coding so that you can understand very clearly. I will share all these files to the GitHub in my description of the channel, so that you can utilize over there. So I uploaded the file, whatever you have seen over here, whatever the image that you have been seen over here, I uploaded the file over here with the name of shapes.jpg. So, and I write some of the code for this. Now you can see about the program output. We found a circle, we found a square, we found a triangle. So it able to identify all the edges of it. So on the image, whatever I given over here, it identify the edges. Even this particular one will be considered as one particular square. This particular one will be considered as a rectangle. So edges, whatever the edges you taken over here, you can see the scaling which is being done by the system. For each and every object, you can see the normal object. You can see the normal object which is not having any kind of edges, but now you can able to see that the edges is being given for each and every one, which able to identify what are all the shapes which has been available, and in what way the edges can able to given for the images. Through that, where we can able to identify the different kinds of shapes to be given. That's why I given a name known as an shape deduction. So this much of shapes is being identified, how many squares available, how many triangles available, so how many circles available. So like that, even you can able to apply some kind of hexagon, even that also recognized. Regarding this particular sample, I don't think so the images are not available, but you can see that how the extraction of edges is being made to this particular one. So this is another example that you can able to identify, like whatever I just told about the text extraction or an edge deduction or the shape deductions, that you can done it using the OpenCV. There where I'm not having any kind of system, because Colab will take care about the responsibility of the cloud to store it in both GitHub as well as in the Drive. So you can do it very powerful kind of extraction of images in the OpenCV. Let I go for another one example for you, which able to, I will share it this particular example in my description part, which where you can able to use it, the or experience in what way the OpenCV is being used for you. For example, I'm just running one particular link for you. In descriptions also, I will give that link. Whenever you are free, you can work it with this link. So this is the live session of program that is being available. You can click the start button over here. So it takes some time to load the particular file. Yeah, it is loaded now. So it takes some time to load it actually. So once it is loaded, you can see that my image has been loaded over here. You can see the left hand side, my actual video is being available. At right hand side, you can see that it detect only my particular face by using the rectangle concepts actually. So this is one of the additional structure we can able to do it by using the OpenCV actually. It able to recognize the morphological of the human structure by using lakhs of images is being posted on the data set. So using this data set, it will able to identify like which is my head, and it can able to give the rectangle for the particular one. You can see it at the right hand side. Video output will be, you can see it at the left hand side, and at right hand side you can also see the output which has been available over here. But additional with this, I can also show you some other images. Just a minute. For example, I'm showing my ID card, or I'm showing my the images which I've been already have it with my license. So for example, I'm showing this but ID card. You can see that the image it is also recognizing the my image as well as the ID card image. You can see it at the top actually. You can it is recognizing my face as well as in my ID card. There is one face, that is my face is available. So in that particular situation also, you can see that the face is being recognized over here. So if anyone coming and standing in back of me, so that particular image will also be taken. So this is another one image which I take it in my thing. So you can see that this is another image. Let me see whether it is recognized or not. Yeah, it's somewhere it has been recognized. I think the image clarity will be needed, but this image, I think this is clearly identified. Yeah, you can see that. So it will able to give the identify. So how this is possible? How this kind of output is possible? That's why I just taken the scenario of an open vision in the first level of work. The extraction will be made by using the by using your computer vision by taking an RGB values, and after that it go to an the extraction by using the NumPy. So I will share this link. Already I share this link. So whenever you're free, you can go through this particular slide, and you can have the experience how the detection of images will be made actually. But technically, if you want to talk about this particular topic, we have an cascade classifiers. There is one of the mathematical what the prerequisites I given about the classifier. We having the mathematical, some basic mathematical terms you know about to work it with the OpenCV. There is a topic known as a cascade classifier. So this cascade classifier is the background of this particular technique. Will identify and store all the images. Lakhs and lakhs of images are stored in the XML file and load it over here. Okay, so using that loading only this file, if you want, I will show you the code so that I can able to prove in what way this particular lines is being. You can see about har cascade front face default dot XML. So this is the one. This is the one which will taken care about the responsibility to store multiple images, which is available in this XML file. I will also share this XML file to the GitHub, which is you can able to use it by your own in the Colab. If you want to know about, you can see about front face default. Okay, which means that front face default in the sense it will concentrate only on the face. If you given any object, it will the front face. There are lakhs and lakhs of front faces are stored in the data set that will be retrieved. On retrieving that, it able to identify the coordinates. So NumPy will take the responsibility to identify the coordinates of rectangle to be pass it over here. Okay, so this is where the image will be taken over here. So you can see that deductions. So you can see the output again in what way. If I shakes my heads also, if I make it my movements in my heads also, you can see the rectangle which is being focused on the head. It is being correctly taking the image extraction to be taken. So the motion deduction. So when you want to implement the motion detection of an human or in any kind of an real-time implementation, you can able to use this cascade classifier as a topic, as a technique in mathematical, and you can implement it using the OpenCV. And for the platform, you can go for Colab. Okay. So let I go for another samples. So this is another one particular file, which what we call as an image capture. Is the video streaming will be loaded. From the video streaming loaded, you can able to capture the image using the OpenCV. So that is also possible over here, where you can able to see over in what way that this files will be loaded. We will load this file. So once the file is being loaded, at right hand side you can see the connecting to Python, and as well as it will provide you the space for each and every one, and it has been initializing. Yes, and finally we'll go for image importing of image. So now you can see that my video has been on, my webcam has been on over here. So the webcam will be on by using the code here. We will just identify, yes, webcam capture is being made over here. Okay, so now what happened? Now I am going for capture. So once I click capture, automatically what happened? The image will be saved. So this is the image which I've been captured over here. So you can move this picture to the website. So that image capturing also, this particular program will be help you to identify and work it over here. So there are multiple files and multiple samples are available to work it with OpenCV. Once if you are practice, then definitely it will be helpful for you to do the any kind of work. For example, I done one simple program over here, which is an identify the face as well as any image. It will identify your face first of all. After identifying your face, then it will give you give the eyes detection, and it will pass it will able to construct over the image. For example, you can see the output which is already available over here. If you want, I will run it. So first of all, I'm just installing the Python OpenCVU. And it is giving the request already satisfied. And then I go for load the file. I'm just loading some kind of files over here. I'm loading my file, my image actually. I'm loading my image. But not only my image I want to load it. There are multiple files available like a cascade front face default value and cascade eye, that also I want to load it. So better I will load it that particular things also. And before that, I will remove the samples which is already available. So I'm choosing the file because already I downloaded that XML file of an cascade front panel. You can see that XML file over here. So I want to load this three file. One is your cascade eye image. So because I want to detect the eye, so that XML file will be loaded. The second one, it will loaded with what is it? It will loaded with front face default XML file, and as well as it is loaded with your photo. So that is also taken over here. So now that file is also running. So the processing power which is taken to the Colab. So you don't want to worry about that particular one. So now all the files are loaded. Then I've been running this particular import, especially what is the import I needed. I want to run the basic two imports of NumPy as well as CV2. And later I can run the file which has been taken over now. And finally I can able to run over the face file which has been needed over here. So now you can see that. So now you can see the output that I loaded my image, and it is able to detect two things in this particular program. One is it is able to detect my face, and second thing is it is able to detect my eyes actually. Okay, so this is what the applications that where you can able to deploy a number of applications you can able to deploy in the OpenCV. Okay, so thank you for giving this opportunity to work with this particular program. And so I'm just taken this particular slides and as well as the demo which is given for you to know about in what way the OpenCV will be available for you, in what way we can able to use it as a learning purpose as well as for to know about the new technology level concepts. So for further any kind of details, we can able to go to website www.rni.org. Both students and faculties, those who are interested to do the platform, or we need a platform to provide it for you to enrich your knowledge and to be an innovator or an entrepreneurship and to learn about the technology, you can enroll in this platform. So this platform will definitely helpful for you to all the streams of departments, especially in the institution of RNI. So I will take immense pleasure to welcome the next speaker, Mr. Manish. Is a final year student of RNI Engineering College. And he's having a wide knowledge and fashion on understanding the concepts of webworks in terms of ranking and indexing of websites. He believes that the key to all web understanding is achieved by creating a web page using WordPress without any code knowledge. And Manish runs several blog sites on Blogspots on WordPress using a CMS, that what we call as a content management system. So I take immense pleasure as an head as well as an convener of an institution innovation cell And I welcome Manish to share his presentation. Manish, you can share your presentation now and talk about the content management system. You can share the presentation now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for the beautiful intro.
Yeah, thank you, Manish. You can start your presentation.
Yeah, sure. So before I'm going to say something about content management system, I just want to say one thing, that for any innovation there is a problem. Before creating anything that is related to technique, there first there will be a problem. On acquiring the problem, you have to search what will be the solution. So in search of solution, you will find a technology. That technology is called innovation. So from there, they can lead to a new technology. Like at the initial state, the 2G, 3G, and 4G were developed. Now we need more speed. We don't need 4G speed at all because it is very slow. So I need 5G speed. So I go for 5 speed. Example, BSNL keep on giving 5G speed in the future, like in April or May. So let me display the slide. Is it visible? So the content management system is a computer software. It is developed by Matt Lumenwald. Why it is developed? Because of the people like us who have a very less knowledge about the coding, but we want to create something like website, but we don't have any coding knowledge. Even though I have to create a website, I have to earn money for everything, whatever it may be. Like it may be WhatsApp. Even WhatsApp, you can see the privacy policy. If data users is being taken by the Facebook, and Facebook is using the data user to give the advertisement. They are taking our interest, what we are doing, where we are living. So through geographical area, they are taking our data and they are benefiting the advertiser, like uh, software seller companies. So first of all, it is used to manage the content. So because of lack of knowledge of coding, we have to go for the CMS. So why CMS? So take an example that I do not have even a single code knowledge, even though I want to create a website. So what I'm going to take first at all is content management system. So through that content management system, that is everything is drop and drag. Through drag and drop, you can easily create a website, easy to access, and the advanced SEO. What is meant by SEO? Search engine optimization. So through search engine optimization, what you have to do is nothing, very easy. You have to do is create backlinks. The backlinks may be on page SEO, off page SEO. Those website, what will Google say whenever you search a topic? Like example, what is content management system? You search on Google. If you search on it, there will be list of websites. Through list of website, there will be number one website, the second website, third website. So how it is indexing is based on SEO. It's based on the link, which is there are two type of links. That is on page SEO, off page SEO, and do follow and no follow links. So in the do follow links, the links will say to Google that please follow this link. So after, if your page consists of many millions of follow links, then Google will recommend that website. Otherwise, they will not recommend you. And next to security. So what in security, I mean to say in the content management system is nothing but very simple. So www.wordpress.com slash, if you want to log into your dashboard, because you have created content management system but want to log in. So www.wordpress.com slash WP, which means WordPress admin. You have to click and then there will be two columns like enter your username and password. So this is just simple. Now everyone can do. But hackers, what about them? They know that if they enter this URL vp/admin, they will easily they will know. They will enter the password. They will enter the user ID. But what is here in the security purpose is you can change the WP/admin. You can change it www.wordpress.com/ you can change it like Mango. So a hacker will know, hacker will don't have any knowledge that Mango can also be a URL. So /u/Mango, if you click that, then only that time the administration will be open, like enter your username, enter your password. On that clicking, or if that is wrong, they will say you to re-enter. If you enter, that will go to your dashboard. So the security plays a minor role, major role. And the next one is cost effective and affordable. Most of the content management system is paid, but when you take about WordPress, it is very much cost effective. So content management system about WordPress is open source, which means we do not have to pay even a single penny for this content management system. But the thing here is, for the hosting, we have to provide some money to some host provider like GoDaddy. So in the demo session, I will say how a GoDaddy hosting platform works on content management system, and how content management system can be created without the knowledge. So first, in 1985, the first problem occurred was we don't have coding knowledge, even though we have to create a knowledgeable website. So in 1985, what they did means through IBM, through International Business Management, what they have did means they have created a content management system, FileNet. Through FileNet, they can easily manage what I have to post the new column, what the new page have to be opened, what the link I have to choose. Everything is drop and drag. Nothing, no code is needed. And the next one is content, type of content. As I already said, the WordPress, Joomla, Magneto, Drupal, these are some of the famous content management system. But even though in the world's website, total 30% website is managed by WordPress, which means WordPress is very much affordable, very much secure, very much easy to use, and the interface is good in WordPress in compared with Joomla, Magneto, and Drupal. So you can go through this. So WordPress, the beautiful fact about the WordPress is it is actually free, and the free software, many of the free softwares, there is a limitations. So only these functions you can perform, the remaining function you cannot perform. But in WordPress, everything is free. You can do anything, and you can extend the software. You can extend, even if you have good knowledge, you can go for content, and there you can edit the codes, WordPress codes, and you can write whatever code you want to implement it, because it is comes under the GPL license, general public use. So we can create anything through it. When you create a content management system, it will automatically create a database. So let me show you a demo. See, before going for content management system, we have to know where we are going to host the content management system. For that, we need a hoster. So that hoster is provided by GoDaddy. So I have gone to the GoDaddy, and what I'm going to do is simply I will buy a website called domain, and so I have already logged in. So let us see the products. These are my products. If you are new to content management system, what you have to do is you have to simply go to the cart, and you have to search for a new domain. Like I have to create a content management system for Arunai. Is this domain available? So these websites are available. We have to purchase this website, and after that we have to pay, search for a hoster. So here is the hosting. So these are the WordPress hoster and this is Linux hoster. So we don't have to go for the WordPress hoster because we will install later the WordPress hosting. But the web hosting is Linux hoster. So we are going to buy a Linux hoster. I already purchased, so I won't buy now. After buying that domain and hosting, what you have to do is click on my product. After clicking on my product, just simply scroll down. You have to see the two domains I already purchased for the future purpose, like alosbharat.com and utvnews24.com. So this is a free website builder provided by GoDaddy, but I don't want, because in free it is not at all content management system now. It is all about business and they will not provide a free. They will simply give an interface, and if I like an interface, I will become addicted. After becoming addict, I want to do extra. For extra, they will say, please give some money for managing those things, and if you want extra things, please provide me money. So though on web hosting, I have purchased Linux website. Like Linux website, what the advantage is, per month 1 lakh visitors can come and search whatever the content they want. So I have got the hosting account of my GoDaddy. Here, what I have to do is control panel, cPanel. Just keep on loading. You can see my dashboard. For any website, for any content management system, the one thing that should be main is SSL certificate. Through SSLC, what you have to do is simply I have login here. See, you can see here the connection is secure. For this connection secure, you have to buy a SSL certificate. I purchased this in the cost of 800 per 2 year. So you see your log, which means the connection is secure. Whatever you enter here, it will be secure. But in some of the cases, this will be open, which means if you do something like entering your personal details, these personal details won't be privacy. They won't guarantee. That is called non-SSL certificate. So we need LCC, and I have already enabled. So here, control panel. In control panel, what we have to going to do is we have to install the WordPress. I have already installed, but just a single click is needed. See, your application, my blog. If you don't have WordPress, and you want to do it by your coding, then you can go on File Manager and you can do whatever coding you need, and you can upload there or extract some of the codes. But let assume that I don't have any knowledge, basic. I don't know even a basic programming knowledge. But even though I want to open a website, you simply scroll down. You will see a WordPress. So this is WordPress. Like if you don't want to create a website on WordPress, there are Joomla, there are Drupal, there are Magneto. You can create, but for blogging purpose, the WordPress is number one. So let us assume that I have click on that. That is called Installatron. It's a new company that you see. You can see that a single click and the WordPress will be installed. Like install this application. If I click on that, simply the WordPress will be installed. But I have already installed, so I don't need any other problems. So I'm going to click on here my application. I have single application right now, which is connected to alwaysbharat.com. You can see here alwaysbharat.com is a primary URL. So next URL is alwaysbharat.com/WordPress, that is VP admin. Here admin, what hacker will do, they already know that WP/admin is already existed. So they can web hosting. So click on manage. So I was here, alwaysbharat.com/vpadmin. So we can change the name here if you want. So that can be possible only through plugins, which means we have to download some plugins in it. So you can see that there's always Bharat, and for the password, I have to what I have to do. I have to generate password. For the temporary, I am creating a new password. Save all. After creating the password, we can paste over there. See, it shows green signal, which means the password has been updated. So after finishing, we can even change the password there for temporary person. So you can see I have logged in successfully, and this is what we call actually the content management system. So content management system, this is dashboard where you can see if your site is not at all good, so it should be improved, which means that if you come and scroll down, see you can see here SEO, the content which are good for the SEO, they check that these policies are available here, then they will simply approve, and comments whatever comment they have posted, that will appear answer. Here appearance, which means my theme, how my theme looks and how I can customize it. You can customize here, click on that. See, this is just like simple drag and drop. If you click on that, they will show this portion is that. See on the general, if you see menus, these are the menus. If I click on that, see here privacy policy. If you click on that, they will show. And if I want to delete on this, so just quickly select menu, always Bharat, and once I publish, see whatever I have given down, the same content is uploaded here. So I don't want that. I am going to simply create Bharat, always Bharat 1. So Google will see only this is the main condition. After, if I want to create a new menu, you can create here in cost on public. So from this, you can just simply drag and drop. If you click on a recent post, if you click on, you can edit what the recent post I want, what I don't want. So through you can customize. You don't need any knowledge. And next is plugins. If you click on plugins, example I want. Example, in every WordPress websites, at the bottom there will be a name called powered by WordPress, but we have already removed it. So let me show you how I did. Click on alwaysbharat.com. Once you get at the bottom, you can see copyright at alwaysbharat.com. At this place, what I have replaced is powered by WordPress. I don't want powered by WordPress because the website should be looked professional. So for that professional, what I have to do, I have to install a plugin. That is plugin called Visual Footer Credit Remover. So these are the plugins. Why these plugins should be installed? Means for the development of the poster. Simply, if your website is down for some reasons, or else your website is being hacked and you want to delete everything, so for that purpose, what you have to do is income called Updraft. The Updraft is one of the best plugin on the content management system on WordPress. If you install, you simply go to setting. After going to setting, you have to link your Google database, like Google Drive. That is a cloud service of Google. You can connect here and you can see these are the backups of my website. If your website is accidentally deleted by your friends or you, then you can simply click on this restore, and everything, whatever the plugins, whatever you have done, everything will be uploaded again. And this is called SEO. SEO, search engine optimization. So here search as number one, Number one SEO tool in content management system is Yoast SEO. Everyone today use SEO because for this SEO we can see which content is being ranked by Google. Simply I click on post and I am going to take a single post. Let us take election, US election 2020, which says the SEO is excellent. So how the excellent is, so how the post is excellent, let us see here. After writing a post here, what you have to do, simply go down and you can see which keyword you want to focus. I want to go US election. Whenever people search US election 2020, my website should be appeared. It may be in the 10th rank, it may be into 20th rank, but it has to be. So what I have to do here, US elections and readability. So if you go down, you can see what I have outbound links, which means when there should be a link which says when you click a new post will be opened. That is called outbound, which means another website, not my website. If you click on that link and the page or the post which is opened within the website, then that is called internal links and the key phrase. And these are some of the criteria that have to be maintained in order to get a good SEO. Next, you can read SEO readability. So readability, their passive voice is excellent and paragraph length is excellent, which means a paragraph length should be 300 word plus and the sentence given is good. After giving, if it shows good, then the SEO is excellent. So here you can see the readability okay, which means okay, not at all excellent. So on the next page, SEO site. What we have to do is site. I have just plugged in this before 2 days, and you can see I can keep an overall view. See, organic search, not at all social view like Facebook. No, not at all. I have never shared. So what I have to do here, how much organic search is coming from external searches. See, organic, you can see 53, which means 53% people are searching on Google, and Google is preferring go to this website and do whatever you want, whatever knowledge you want to get, which means I have not forced someone. I have simply did SEO, and the Google organic search is 53. And through, if I search on, if I share on social media like Twitter, then that is 33. Direct is just, I have entered alwayzbharat.com and direct the website is open. This is called direct. So I have direct and referral, means someone refer and those comes. In example, back end SEO like back end links, do follow, no follow links. Through that, if they clicked and through they came, then is called referral links. So you can see 2.3 people have come here and 65 people clicked here in last few days. So what are the content that have topped in the Google index ranking? You can see here in the lab. This is called Google Lab. On the phone, if you open my website, how many seconds it take to open my website? These are some of the milliseconds. Normally, when a website is opened within 3 seconds, this is called lightweight theme website, and that is most of the users likes to read it because they don't want a load time. In the whenever you open your my desktop, you see block is 0, which means when you click on that, simply it will open. There is no time taken like a second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. So this is called lightweight themes. So the last one, what I'm going to do, I will simply add a new post. Simply I have, if I have good knowledge about something, let us assume the share market. I'm going to write a post on share market. Then what I have to do is paste here something, and I'm going to write the intraday and daily stocks in the market at the cost of something. If you want to know the cost, you can simply this is a share market broker. where you can get the detail. You have to provide, they will provide a user ID. So for the second verification, I have to enter. So this is my dashboard of share market. So if I have good knowledge, or so you can see here the gold based share market is low now. So whatever, if I have knowledge which share should be bought, which share should be um, sell at what time. See, you can see here, I have bought the share of SBI, and I have gained 3 rupees. TTL, I have gained 10 rupees. So currently I am at the benefit of 9 rupees. I have got 9 rupees through share market. So if you want to know this, if you have this kind of knowledge, then you can simply say, please invest on SBI, please invest on Tata Telecommunication in Maharashtra Limited. You can share, you can gain the uh, gain the profit through this. Whenever I want that the price is goes high, and whenever I want, I can sell and earn the profit. So through this, if you have good knowledge, then you have to click the SBI is good to buy. So click and simply you can hear what we have to is share market. Click, and if you can see here red button, which means the website, the share market is not at all used many times. Minimum 3 to 4 minutes is needed, 4 to 5 lines is needed. So what is the difficulty of getting the SEO is, I have not mentioned any outbound link, I have not mentioned any internal links. This should be satisfied if your content should be SEO friendly. After that, what we have to do, if you want to add image, you can simply insert a image here. So I don't want image, then simply click on publish. So without any coding language, I have created share market post. You can see here alwaysbharat.com. So the post is ready. Once it is open, then the post is, look at here, share market. If you click on that, what are the content I have provided, you will simply see here. If I have provided an extra column, then you can see here, but I have not provided extra content. So without knowledge, you can create a website, you can manage the website. And if I go to the Google and I say, please provide me the code for the AdSense, then they will provide, and at this region they will provide code, and through this they can earn money. Without any coding knowledge, they can create website and earn money. Through this, what we came to know is, without knowledge, we can even create a website and do whatever we think we are good in, like creating blogs, like say food blog. If you are good in food blog, then you can simply write this dishes are good without any kernel knowledge. So I think I have completed the basics on content management system. I thank our HOD, Mr. Jyoti sir, for the golden opportunity, sir.
Thank you, Manish. The work that you make it on content management system, and I think you become as an young entrepreneur on seeing all your slides, especially on the content management system and how the admins are maintained, how the visual footer credit removers are applied, what are all the credits, how to post the content in the websites, in what way the links should be made, like internal link or outbound links, how the organic searches are available to the Google, and how much seconds is being needed. So we identified some lot of information. Let we have another session to be taken, especially on content management system, Mr. Manish, so that
Yeah, sure.
we can definitely we can able to take some more interesting topics to deeply taken as a separate session to how the post should be made, what are the keywords that you should identify. So we will take it another session to make it. So thank you for giving the content, which is really nice, especially on the CMS. So thank you, students, for your participation and active presentation over on the online sessions. So let me see on the next STEM 8.0 shortly. So peoples of online institutions, please use this platform to enroll and enrich like Manish and most of the people have started over and given more number of presentations, especially on technical and some general topics also available. But the major objective of an Institutional Innovation Council of Arunai Institution to enroll all our innovations and entrepreneurships to be taken to a right time at the right frameworks. That is why we have deployed over the IEC of Arunai. So I also thanks Ms. Sagitya as well as Mr. Nurul Hasan sir to be the backend support as a faculty level, and as well as in student level. I congratulate the backend support to execute this particular program for the live sessions and other activities related to technically supported by Mr. Rudra Kumar, finally CSC Satari, Arunagiri, and as well as Praveen from, and most of the students backend peoples are available. So I thank all the students community to make this program to be a success one, and shortly we will meet in the forthcoming sessions, that is STEM 8.0 shortly. So thank you for making this program to be a success one. And I also thanks to our principal, those who give an idea about even the small innovations is happen, and how to make the small innovations to be taken as a product, and in what way we can able to enroll that particular product to the society. So I take this opportunity to thanks to all of them. Thank you. We will see shortly in STEM 8.0. Thank you.